Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Monday morning's edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, it looks like the correction is over, and we got another rally, another leg up on this rally going.
Well, they're saying Greek deal today. Yesterday's no deal, today's deal, so probably tomorrow will be no deal, and the market will fall back off. But today's a good day, Joel. All your financials are rallying strong on this Greek deal.
Okay, taking a look at the current market, the current high stands at 1352 and a quarter. Bumping into last week's high, and the high of the move so far at 1352.75. Busting up above that level, confirm our next leg up. Our upside target is 1357 and a quarter. Looking at the Globex low here, 1342.75. That's just above Friday's intraday high and close. Moving on to the Big Ten, kind of after a rough week last week, ExxonMobil showing some strength this morning, currently trading up in the pre-market. Opening up almost into some resistance here, Wednesdays and Thursdays lows, which we gapped down on Friday, into resistance. If you come back down to the close or Friday's high, look support around the $84 level.
And if you get back up into this 85 number here, I've been talking about this number forever, I think it will provide some resistance. 86 is huge, but if we can get back up there even to the 85 area, I think that might be an opportunity to try a short.
Okay, Apple Computer continuing its assault on 500. Not sure if it's quite made it there in the pre-market, but let's use yesterday's low, the old-time high, as support, 497.62. That will be support. Also, you had two closes in the same area in the 493.5 area, so keep an eye on that area as well. And where Apple stops on the upside, your guess is as good as mine.
We're right there, Joel. We're really getting close now, only a buck away. 498.97 trading in the pre-market, up over $5. It's assault on 500. Looks like it might take it out today. I still think it's going to take this out. Sucker a whole bunch of people to get long this to talk about on CNBC. Is it going to 600? And analysts will come on there saying, yeah, it's going to 600. And it'll go up to this like 505, 507 area, and then all of a sudden just die like 20 points and shake out all the longs.
Okay, that's one possible scenario.
One possible scenario, I guess.
499.74 has been the top in the pre-market, folks. Moving on to our next component, a tech component as well, IBM. Just kind of been meandering lately. Hasn't been able to take out that all-time high, 194.90. You do have a few minor areas of resistance before that. 194.46 was yesterday's high. We are trading up smartly in the pre-market, 85 cents. So if you get a chance to bring this in anywhere near Friday's high or close, the 192.43 area, we'll call that good support today.
In your weekly comments, Joel, you commented that high-frequency traders seem to come in every time this thing gets in the 194s, and they sell it back off. Well, we're starting to approach there again. We're 193.50 this morning, up a buck in the pre-market. So I think you're right. I think it gets back into those 194s. I think you keep playing it from the short side, and until it takes out that new and makes that new all-time high over 195, I'd keep playing it from the short side.
Okay, Chevron Corporation also trading up here in the pre-market, trading at the 106 and a quarter level. Taking out Friday's high, so we will use the 105.52 area as support. Really stock, Dennis, up until the 107.5 area. Made a couple cracks at it last week, but couldn't quite take it out. So that's the place we're looking for on the upside for Chevron Corporation, 107.50.
Yeah, Joel's looking at these two tops here on your chart where we topped out at 107.41 the one day, and then it was 107.50, I think, right on the nose. So I call that area good resistance too at the 107.5. We're trading 106.25 this morning, so up almost a buck. If it was to rally another buck, I do think you'll find resistance up there. So I'm in agreement with you, Joel.
Okay, Microsoft topping out last week, a double top at 30.80. Looks poised to test that level once again, trading up 18 cents in the pre-market. It's been there twice. Third time could be a charm to go through. Next level we'll be looking at. Been talking about this 31.06 for a while. That was a high back in May of 2010. Coming back on the downside, if you get a chance to bring this in at the settlement, 30.50, be good support.
When Apple rolls over, this stock's going to roll over. And I don't know when that's going to happen. I was trying to predict it a little bit, but really nobody knows when Apple is going to eventually roll over. But I would imagine your Microsoft will roll over when that stock rolls over. So continue to watch Apple as your indicator when you're trading Microsoft.
Okay, moving on to our next component here, Procter Gamble. Did open lower on Friday, but really shrugged it off and just kind of climbed its way back up to the 64 area. Currently trading above last week's high, which was 64.10. I don't know if I'd want to buy this right. Did come back into the Friday's high, which was 63.98, and that 64 area, I'll call that support. I'm looking on the upside, Dennis. This thing really, I've had a few minor points 65, but I really like the 64.97 level on the upside.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if it started to get above and trade like 64.25, 64.30, eventually this thing could rally up to that 65 area. There is some air in there. So once you get above 64 solidly here, there's some air up to the 65 area. I think you'd find great resistance up in the 64.90s. Those high frequency guys love to lean on those whole numbers. So I think you'll find some really good resistance up there. If I was to buy the stock, I think I'd want to wait for a pullback though. Getting some nice support starting to form in the 63.50 to 63.60 area, Joel. So I like that area as if it was to pull back for a long.
Yeah, there's actually 4 consecutive lows in that area. Moving on to our next component, AT&T. Spent a little time over 30 last week, Dennis, but double topped out at 30.15. Sold off the remainder of the week. 30, I'm not sure if you're getting any size there yet, Dennis, but Friday's high was 29.97. Thursday's close was 29.99. So let's use that whole area as a swing area. Coming back on the downside, the close is 29.84. That'll be mild support.
I am starting to get some size for them there at 30, Joel. So those high frequency guys love to lean on that size. They'll probably be selling all the way probably from yesterday or Friday's high at 29.97 up to the 30 area. So expect some pretty good high frequency resistance in these 29.90s, and it actually looks like it's going to open up right into there too. So it could be a nice setup to try this from a short side above 30. You'd shake out those high frequency guys, and then it could really go anywhere.
Okay, J&J tried to break out of the range that it's been trading in since mid-December. You had a low at 64.36. Snuck under there on Friday, Dennis, getting to 64.25 before recovering to settle at 64.60. If you're a range trader, channelingstocks.com, it looks like this thing could float back up to the $66 area, getting a little boost here in the pre trading up 24 cents. I would look for Friday's high, 64.77, to provide mild support. If you could get a sell-off and get this thing at the close, I think you'd only be risking, 30, 40 cents down to the Friday low, which also was the weekly low.
Well, if you were listening to us for the last couple of weeks, we've been saying how the chart here in the last 2 weeks looks identical to the chart that it did in late December, where we broke out through the 66, topped out at 66.32 right on the button, then struggled to get back through in the 66 held, then we broke down to this 64.30 area. Well, we just did it. We did the exact same thing where we struggled 66, broke out, made that one-day high through the 66.32, 66 held for a couple days, and then we broke down, and we actually got down to that 64.25. So if you were playing it that way and you got covered down there, good job. It did the exact same thing that it did before. If we're looking at the old chart, it'll probably play around in here for a while in the 65s and 64.25, and then it looks like over the next month eventually back to the 66 area, Joel, if it wants to be identical.
Yeah, also of note there, if it makes a quick run up to the 65, 35 to 39 area, you had 3 consecutive highs in that area, so should access some longs or have a good shorting opportunity. Pfizer, Dennis, moving on to our final component, Pfizer Corporation, which is kind of snuck down from the 22 level at 2080 over the last 2 weeks, as the benefit of favorable comments in the Barron's up and down Wall Street column, looking for some new drugs to come through their pipeline. Getting a little boost here, currently trading at 2114. Major support that 2080 to 2090 level. We've bottomed out there several times. Looking coming back on the upside. Resistance at this 21 and a quarter, but perhaps Pfizer's ready just to meander its way back up to the 2150 area.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a quiet. This stock. There's just no interest in it. Like we were saying, it went ex-dividend there about a month ago. It's already reported earnings. Unless a new drug does come down the pipeline, I don't really see a catalyst for this thing to fly back up to the 22 area. So I wouldn't be surprised if the thing just hangs out and has 15, 20-cent ranges here for a number of days going forward. So play that range. Expect that range when the stock gets up 20 cents or so. Up on the day, it may be a time to try a short on it, and that 51 or 21 and a quarter area would signify the stock being up 20 cents.
I mean, I think with a stock like that too, Dennis, if you're really seriously investing it, in a long-term basis, you would probably know when some of these trials are coming to fruition and when the FDA is going to give the yay or nay on these things. So that's what you need to make a move in this stock. S&Ps have just pulled back slightly from that 352 and a quarter. Keep in mind that was 50 cents off last week's high. It's been the high of the move. So a run up there the first time should be a good test of resistance. That's the S&P analysis and the Big Ten. We're going to take a quick break, get a few word in from our sponsors, and be back with our market movers.